So welcome back. This is the next video in our series with regards to the thorax and breathing. So we've already been through deep breathing with the diaphragm and using that to help relax. We've talked about cyclical breathing, so breathing with different areas of the chest to help you get a full inspiration and a proper exhalation. And we've talked a little bit about coughing and ways in which you can really use the diaphragm and the muscles to help you cough. This last series of videos is around exercising and using particular stretches that can help you improve flexibility and effective function of the chest, the thorax, and the muscles that are associated with that. And we're going to focus on 4 zones really. Firstly, the neck and the neck musculature. Secondly, the upper ribs and front of the chest using a very simple, straightforward technique. We're also going to be looking at stretching into the side of the chest, and we're also going to be looking at techniques that mobilize the thoracic spine, so the central pillar of the thorax to which all the ribs attach and which can sometimes get quite stiff, particularly if we're sitting or if we're coughing a lot. It can cause the muscles of the spine to tighten. Excuse me. So I'm going to start off with talking about stretches for the neck and upper part of your back. So I'm going to ask Teresa to join us. She's going to again be the model. So hello Teresa, thank you very much for coming in. And what we're going to do to start with is talk about stretching the muscles to the side of the neck. So we've got 2 main groups of muscles that control the neck from the side. We have the scalene muscles. These are thin muscles that attach into the upper ribs, around about here and around about the back of the collarbone. They attach onto the first rib mostly, but also onto the second rib. And they're often used in deep breathing and coughing and can get very tight if we have a chest infection or a respiratory problem. So we want to stretch those a little bit to help them improve their function. And then secondly, less important with breathing, but important nevertheless, are the bigger muscles at the back here. So the trapezius muscle, the big web-like muscle that you sometimes see in bodybuilders, and the muscles that lift the shoulder blade, one in particular called levator scapulae that sits at the back. So we can stretch those as well. And they're helpful at, again, relaxing the muscles around the shoulder and shoulder blade and helping you feel a little less hunched and tight. So there's 2 simple ways you can work on these muscle groups. The first exercise, we're going to concentrate on the scalenes. So what I'm going to ask Teresa to do is with her right hand, she's going to hold on to the collarbone and ribs on the left-hand side. So the reason why she's holding on to this area is because she wants to depress it. She wants to hold it down. So you can grip the shoulder like Teresa's doing here, or you can also hold on just to the collarbone itself. So gripping down on the collarbone too. So that's much more specific. Some people don't like this because it's a little bit uncomfortable when they start the stretch. So if you feel sore and it's an uncomfortable feeling, you might want just to hold the whole shoulder rather than focusing on the collarbone on its own. So it's a very straightforward exercise, and all you really need to do in this instance is hold on to the ribs with this hand and then very simply tip your head to one side. So what we're doing here is we're trying to feel a stretch that comes into this part of your neck. So if you feel all the pull coming at the back, tip your head and turn your head a little bit to one side, and that creates a much stronger stretch into these scalenes. So these thinner muscles here. You can see in Teresa, you can see those muscles tightening through the side of her neck here. Now, once you're in that position, take a deep breath in. And then as you breathe out, try and let your head fall to that side a little bit further. And then breathe in again, let your head come back a little bit. And then breathe out and let the head tip. Now this hand, in Teresa's case, the right hand, is anchoring down. So this is fixing. It's pulling down gently on the collarbone, stopping the ribs and the collarbone from rising too much. So if this is fixed down, if this is held in place, you get a much more powerful stretch into the muscles that attach into that point there. And with every stretch, what I recommend people doing is repeating this 5 times. So with this instance, we're using breathing. So just deep breath in and let the head tip, and then breathe out and breathe in with the head coming up. And breathing out, letting the head tip away. Repeat that 5 times, okay? And don't forget to do both sides. If you need a stronger stretch, then as Teresa was going to demonstrate at the start, we can vary this slightly so we can use the left hand to anchor onto the top of the ribs or onto the collarbone if you wish. And we can use the opposite arm to reach up above our heads, taking hold of the side of the head just above the ear. And we're creating the same thing, but in this instance, this hand is being a little bit more engaged. So this is actually helping us pull the head gently to one side. So the same thing, we draw the head slightly, take a deep breath in, anchoring with this hand, and breathe out. And in this instance, we're separating the hands. So we're carefully pulling and holding down with this hand on the out breath as you breathe out to help with the stretching as the muscle relaxes. And as you breathe in, come off the stretch a little bit so we're not engaging the muscles too much, and then breathe out. So this is the first straightforward stretch for these scaling muscles. Okay, so I'm going to get Teresa to sit back into a neutral position again. The variation to stretch the trapezius, the muscles at the back here, the back of the shoulder, it's very similar to that exercise, but it involves fixing the arm and shoulder in a slightly different way. So in this instance, I'm going to ask Teresa to pop her left hand under her thigh, bottom. So she's sitting on her hand, and this helps hold the shoulder down. And again, with this exercise, I'm going to ask Teresa to use her arm to reach up, take hold of her head. And for this exercise, the stretch is to pull her head to one side, but to also let it tip forwards a little bit. So we're coming forwards, not right chin onto your chest, about a quarter or halfway forwards. And then with the hand just gently pulling, you should feel a stretch more to the back of the shoulder. If you feel it in the front of your neck, let your head fall forwards a bit more. And you can actually fine tune this. So the further forwards you go, the more the stretch comes to the back muscles around the middle of the back. The further back the head goes, the more to the outside of the neck and shoulder it focuses. So you can play around with the focus if you're feeling particularly tight here until you feel as if you're getting on the right muscle to stretch. And again, with this stretch, you can use breathing. So you can breathe in, and again, as you breathe out, you increase the gentle pull with your hand. It's not forceful, you're not trying to wrench your head, you're just using a gentle load. And once again. Okay, and that's it. It's as simple as that. So those two exercises focus on the breathing muscles, the scalenes at the front and side of the neck, and the shoulder elevating muscles, the trapezius and the levator scapulae muscle that lift the shoulder blades. So that's exercise number 1.